It's time to get real, not only about the state of the Chicago Bulls, but what's something that the Bulls can do to actually change the direction. The Bulls are slipping, the energy is flat, and after 6 seasons, it's been the same story, and it's time to talk about whether Billy Donovan should remain as the head coach of the Chicago Bulls or not. Not saying that he's the only problem, but a major part of why this franchise feels like it's so stuck right now in the mud. Let's break it all down, plus we'll hear from callers and dive into the mailbag, all that and more, right after this. What's going on, Bulls fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bulls Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related. I'm the host there, Haize, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Bulls Central Pod on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go ahead and get to this content today, y'all. And we're gonna start off talking about this one, right? I just want to take a trip down memory lane real quick, and we're gonna link it all back, right? On December 24th, 2007, which is almost, it's 18 years ago coming up, right? The Chicago Bulls fired Scott Skiles. They fired Scott Skiles when the team was 9-16 on the season. That was in the 2007-8 season. The team was last place in the Central Division and had lost 10 of the first 12 games on that season. Scott Skiles had been the coach for the Bulls for around 5 seasons. He replaced Bill Cartwright in November of 2003. He led the team to 3 playoff appearances, which was the first time since the Jordan dynasty ended in 1998. The Bulls fired Scott Skiles after leading to the team to the playoffs 3 straight times. Billy Donovan was, Scott Skiles was, had led the team 3 straight times to the playoffs. Billy Donovan is now in his 6th season in the NBA as 6th season as the Chicago Bulls head coach, and we'll have 1 playoff appearance to show for that. Right? Now, do I think that Billy Donovan is the only problem for the Chicago Bulls? No, he's not. But he is a huge symptom of the complacency that this franchise has had for the last decade plus, right? Now, the reason why I said that, I even started this off by talking about Scott Skiles, is that was Scott Skiles necessarily a terrible coach for the Chicago Bulls? No. Does Scott Skiles have success coaching a young Chicago Bulls team? Yes. Do the Bulls still need to move on from Scott Skiles? Absolutely, because you know why? He lost the voice in that locker room. And this is where, like, me and my co-host over on Locked on Bulls kind of disagree. Me and Pat had a conversation off air about this yesterday, in which Pat was like, well, if the players aren't listening, that's not on the coach. I have a different mindset on that. If you have lost that locker room, regardless of who it's on or not, that's you. If players are no longer listening to you as the person leading it, that is on you. A leader's job is to find a way to communicate and connect with the people that they are leading. And with Billy Donovan, if that has lost, and I say if because I don't know, I'm not in the locker room, if that has now lost this team or left this team, I think something has to be done. But this just, like I said, it's just a symptom of the larger complacency that this team is dealing with, right? And so you can't say that you're a franchise that values winning, that wants to become a winning franchise, that's the thing that's winning and development is all at the forefront of your mind, and then you haven't done it. Billy Donovan has been the head coach of the Chicago Bulls for this is his 6th season, 5 full seasons already. And out of that, we have 1 playoff appearance and 1 playoff victory to show for it. And I think in that time, we have 2 winning seasons technically under under Billy Donovan there. It's just not enough. It's not going to cut it, right? We have 1 46-win season and then a 40-win season. So no, we only have 1 winning season to show in that. And that just goes to show a large part of the difference of the standard that this front office and the ownership group has versus 20 years ago. Scott Skiles was removed because he had 1 down season in which he looked like he lost that locker room, and it was time to move on. They needed to change the voice. They needed to change the direction. They needed to change stuff like that. Tom Thibodeau was fired after being the second winningest coach in Chicago Bulls history. He was fired. That was more because of a personality clash with the front office, but still, you removed him. When you go around and look at the Mike Malones, the Taylor Jenkins, the coaches that have been fired that have had way much more success and development even in that time period than what Billy Donovan has had here, I'm in no way blaming all of this on Billy Donovan because AK and Eversley, their drafting history, the Reinsdorfs and how they allow a franchise to completely, not winning, not be the thing that Billy Donovan isn't the only problem here, but he is a symptom of the problem. And sometimes you have to change stuff, and that could be the first step in the change. I'm not saying that, boom, you fire Billy Donovan and everything's quite right at that point. That's not what I'm saying. But as a head coach, you have to be held to a different standard. And when you are a franchise like the Chicago Bulls, like this front office has done, where they want to bet on internal development to be the change that this team needs. So you want to bet on that, right? That's fine, but you have to realize that sometimes it's just not going to happen, and you need a change. Now, we'll talk more about like trades and things like that, and that can happen, and whatever else you talk about there. We got voicemails on that. But when you just sit back and look at this team and look at where they are, complacency has been one of the biggest reasons why. Now, that's on the court as well. The players absolutely have an onus in this. You look at how we are settling for bad three-point shots, but when two of your players, Ayo and Vooch, have recently said, hey, yeah, Billy's telling us the right thing, people in the locker room aren't listening. I get it, right, in the sense that we have over half our roster of free agents at the end of the year, so maybe AK and Eversley are looking at it and saying, all right, well, we're going to make some wholesale changes to this roster, and maybe we get players in here that more fit and are in line with what Billy Donovan wants and how he wants to coach them. And I guess even in where we are right now, I can understand that. But you still have to review and ask yourself, what standard are you setting as your head coach? Complacency is definitely something that can absolutely kill your team and kill any good vibes that you do have. And you got to ask yourself that. Now, I will say this as well. Billy Donovan has never been given the most complete roster. We've known we've lacked rim protection and a decent big some, and people will be like, well, Billy Donovan played 4 guards and 1 big out there. Yeah, we only have 2 bigs on the roster right now that are healthy. You can only have 1 out there if you've been playing. That's why Billy Donovan doesn't run double bigs, because if they both get exhausted at the same time, what are you doing, right? So I understand that. Now, I do think Lachlan Albrecht showed a lot last night, and hopefully that opens up Billy Donovan's eyes a little bit to what he can continue to do while we're missing Zach Collins. But Zach Collins may be back the next game. He could be back on Monday's game, so we'll see what happens there, right? But overall, it's just, I'll say this. When you look around the league, there are things that usually, when a team is not living up to its own standards, either there's the roster's blame or the head coach's blame. And as it stands right now, AK has been reluctant to do any. Yes, we have made a lot of overhaul on this roster over the last 18 months, right? Look at bringing in Josh Giddey for Alex Caruso, DeMar DeRozan leaving, trading Zach LaVine and getting those new players in here. Miles Muzelis being a draft pick. Noah Essengate, who hasn't played a lot yet. The trading of Lonzo Ball for Isaac Okoro. There have been some changes, so I'm not going to act like there's been no changes to this roster. But the fact is that even when you have made changes to this roster, you're almost replacing, like the Josh Giddey was a big catalyst of change for this team. He was that, and make no mistake about that, right? Miles Muzelis as a young rookie that finally came in, and we now have moved off of Patrick Williams as far as Patrick being the starter. That was a change for the Bulls. But flipping Isaac Okoro for Lonzo Ball was basically just, hey, we want a more healthy player, and now Isaac Okoro's missed a few games, right? So, but it wasn't something that actually really changed your play style or changed what you did. This team is drastically needing some type of change. Now, does that come with Zach Collins coming back? And maybe, now the Zach Collins and Jalen Smith being more open to play those guys together? Maybe. Does Kobe White and Josh Giddey, who haven't really played a lot together yet this season, does them kind of uncover rediscover what they had at the end of last year? Maybe. But at some point, you got to stop relying on the maybes and the what coulds, and you got to go out there and make something happen. And in no way, like I said, this kind of started off, and I use removing Billy Donovan as the head coach as the jumping part off for this conversation. But in no way does it just need to stop there either. In no way do I mean that that's the only thing that's going to boom fix this team and boom we're going to be right back where we need to. But like at some point, you can't keep hoping for different results when you left most of the pieces the same. Now, you can bring in a different chef, a more creative chef that can look at the ingredients that you have and be like, you know what? I can actually move these things around or combine these things or do these things different, and we can come up with a whole new dish here. That's a possibility. And that's why I say, you have to have a catalyst that actually stirs the pot. And a coaching change could be that. Do I expect them to fire Billy Donovan? No. You know why? Because, again, he's in with the Reinsdorfs. He said that the front office seems to love Billy Donovan. They're committed to him and the collaboration that they have between him and the front office. But at some point, are you shooting yourself in the foot, staying with what's safe and with what you know when your team drastically needs a major change? And that is something that this front office, it does not seem like it's ready, willing, or able to ask that tough question on. And we'll see. Now, can the Bulls still turn their season around? Absolutely. There's still more than enough time to turn the season around. But how realistic is it that even if they do turn it around, we're going to be right back here in another year with Billy Donovan yet again, and we're looking at the same thing of, well, damn, right? That's the question that you have to ask yourself. And oh, by the way, when the Chicago Bulls did move on from Scott Skiles, the coach at that point who had got them back to the playoffs for the first time since the Jordan era, when they did that, they turned around and they were able to draft Derrick Rose in that same offseason. Now, that was because the team struggled, but the team even went into that with not the best lottery odds. This is why I say tanking isn't always the answer to get to the results that you need. But then again, you have to have a vision. And people like to shit on Vinny Del Negro, but he came in and in 2 years he was here, he set, kind of the base of what Derrick Rose was, right, and what that team could be. And then Tom Thibodeau came in here and took it off to the top. But some type of change is needed. And as we continue to go through this season, and we still see Vooch still being a problem here, Patrick Williams still being a problem here, Billy Donovan still being a problem here. And I get it. You're not going to get a lot back for trading Vooch or Patrick Williams. Let's be clear there. That's not what I'm saying. But at some point, you need a coach that's going to set a different standard, because it seems like Billy Donovan may be starting to get tuned out. So you need somebody who's going to come in here and turn up the volume, turn up the heat on the Chicago Bulls team. Again, this rant sponsored by nothing but fandom, because I doubt that anything's going to happen and this Bulls team is actually going to change something. But they've proved me wrong before, prove me wrong again. So we'll see. But with that said, let's go ahead and get into the mailbag portion of today's episode, man. This first voicemail we got, this one's from Corn.
What's the good word, King Drip, man? What the fuck is going on? What the fuck is going on? I can't with this motherfucking team. This team, so fucking. First of all, I'm gonna just go in on all of them. It's from top to bottom. It's just, I can't believe this bullshit is going on again. Modest, zealous. Disappointing in you, man. You're going through a real bad slump. I need you to be more aggressive, man. Especially the days that Kobe is not playing. I am looking at you. Bro, we lost to the fucking Hornets. We just lost to the fucking Pacers. Should have lost to the Blazers. Is we playing down to our competition, Shaz? This is a question I got to ask you. Is we playing down to our competition, or this is just our competition? That this is exactly our competition? And I mean it, like I'm gonna say this. When we play the Clevelands and the Detroits, the good teams that we beaten, are they playing down to us? Just a question. Just a thought. So fucking disappointed in this fucking team right now, man. And I get it. You know what I'm saying? I get it, man. It's just, I'm lost. You know what I say? I'm lost for words and speechless, King Drip. I am truly lost for words. The defense, West Unshell, he need his ass whooped. It's just, I don't know, bro. Like, this is bad. At least y'all, look, like everybody said, at least y'all got the Bears. At least y'all got the Bears. But I don't have that. I just have my Bulls when it comes to this shit. And I'm gonna just leave it there, man. All right, King Drip, man. Peace, King.
Modest has absolutely settled for too many bad shots. He isn't attacking the rim, but he isn't the only one, right? Like, and so that leads me to believe is something like this team has gone rogue, because what Modest has been doing is very disappointing. It's very, very disappointing. The lack of energy, the lack of attacking, the lack of just, overall effort that we saw out there at the beginning of the season, that has almost completely left the Chicago Bulls team. And I just don't understand where it went, right? Because a lot of the pieces are still here. Yeah, we've had players like Isaac Okoro who are out that have missed some time. Trey Jones has missed some time. Jalen has missed some time. But, like, the fact that the energy has completely left the building is super alarming to me. And that's part of the reason why I opened the show with the rant that I did, right? The only two Bulls players that I feel like has continually brought the energy are Giddey and Ayo. I'm just going to be 100% honest with that. Kobe, I guess you can say that too, but Kobe at times too, it's like it's because it's uncontrolled, but I'll say Giddey and Io have consistently brought it. Now, that's not to say that they haven't had times either where like Giddey settled for 3-point shots that he wasn't penetrating, especially after the ankle injury. But those two players are the only ones, in my opinion, that have brought it. Like other players have shown it in spurts and things like that. I won't act like that won't happen. We've seen it at times from like Kevin Huerter. We've seen it at times from Jalen Smith. We've seen it at times from Modest Buzelis. We've seen it at times even from players like P. Will and Trey. But the only players consistently bringing that energy have been Josh Giddey and Io DeSumo, in my opinion, right? And so we got to rediscover that. We are not going to, until we get the energy back consistently, we are not going to see any success in any other places. We're just not. You got to get that energy. You got to attack it. You got to get to that point. And until you do, it's going to be disappointing. It's going to continually be disappointing for this team. So let's see what we can do there. Let's see if we can get this settled and we can start getting better energy, because I don't think wins are going to come consistently until this team plays with better effort. Fight. Act like you're getting paid millions of dollars out there. Show some fucking pride. You remember early in the season where I was like, oh, this team is fighting with the heart of Chicago. That shit is gone. They looked at the heart of Chicago and said, F Chicago. And therefore, F them. Like, let's get this shit together. All right, let's get into the next one, man. This one's from Melo.
Yo, what up, Haize? This is Melo, bro. I just finished watching this game, man, and the game against the Pacers, and changes have to be made, bro. We know Donovan's not going nowhere, so I'm not going to go into the whole we need to fire Billy Donovan, this, but part of this downfall that the team is on right now, this downswing, I should say, is based on coaching. It's a lot of things that's not being done that need to be done. He needs to learn how to make adjustments. Teams are playing the Bulls completely different now than what they were playing earlier because they have tape. So now they see what the Bulls' tendencies are, what guys like to do, and how they're running their offense, et cetera, et cetera. But then at the same time, the defense isn't as good either. It's just all the way bad now. I say 50% players, 50% coaching. And as far as moves the Bulls could potentially make, they need to get Vooch out of there. I'm not saying it's his fault or anything, but they need a legit center. And they really need to try and get Murphy in there. They need to get Trey Murphy in there immediately and get a shot to this offense. I think he would play good with Giddey. Just want to see what your thoughts on that Murphy and Giddey duo, pretty much. And with the way they're playing, if this continues, do you think Kobe is really going to resign? Or should they try to re-up Io now? Just want to get your thoughts on that. T-Brad.
The Bulls' offense is generally okay. Yeah, there's more settling for threes than attacking the rim that I would like. It's the defense that is the thing that's holding this team back the most, right? And I do think an acquisition of like Trey Murphy III will be perfect for this team. It doesn't do much for the rim protection and the big that we need, but having another perimeter defender, somebody who can score off ball, who does consistently move off ball, can also be a hub for you when like Giddey is sitting and can do some things. Listen, I know that it's only a rumor right now. We don't know exactly what Trey Murphy's availability is or anything like that, but I think I would love Trey Murphy for this team. As far as Io, you're not going to re-sign him now because he gets more money becoming an unrestricted free agent first, then re-signing with the Bulls. So because of that, you're not going to get him. Now, you have that exclusive negotiating period where players become free agents and you can re-sign your own free agents before they hit the open market where you can still give them that money. That's where the Bulls are going to have to try to get him locked in at. But they're not going to lock him in early. He's not going to sign an extension during the season because of how the extension limitations work when you're signing an extension during the season. He's going to have to become a UFA first, and then the Chicago Bulls can re-sign him. But, we'll see what happens there, Melo. Change is needed. We'll see. All right, let's get into this next one, man. This one is from Josh.
Yo, what's up, Chicago Bulls Central? This is Josh out in Arizona. I'm calling today because I wanted to talk about Modest Buzelis. I think I'm over the last 5 to 7 games. It seemed like there's been a difference in his play compared to that first 5-6 games that we had. It's seeming like, I wouldn't say like P. Willis, but the aggressiveness that we were seeing in the beginning of him, driving to the lanes or cutting and getting to the basket, I haven't been seeing that as much. I'm not gonna lie. You also see though that Billy Donovan be sitting him in games and whatnot for vast amounts of time due to like defensive lapses. But I was wondering, it seems like he like like you said in that episode before that he's on like a shorter leash. Could in that shorter leash does does that mean Billy Donovan is telling Montes to not do as much on with the ball in his hands? Because he hasn't really been driving as much as you would expect or want the kid to do. You know, it's really just been a lot of like shooting threes and whatnot, and he's not even knocking like all of those down. So it's like that he's not really doing what he does best, at least on the offensive side. So the question would be: is the drop off in Modest's game, is that due to his play or his own doing as a second year player and whatnot, or could it be a coaching factor and Billy Donovan saying, "Hey, Modest, you feel me? Calm down, stop dribbling the ball, feel me? Just get open for the three." Because that would be crazy if it is. So let me know what you think. Have a good one.
I highly doubt Billy is telling Modest to not attack and settle for threes. I highly doubt that that's the thing. As much as I'm upset with Billy Donovan, I'm not going to say unreasonable things. I highly doubt that Billy Donovan's been like, hey, don't be aggressive out there. Don't dribble the ball at all. Just take and shoot these jumpers. Now, I will say with this, right, I can't say that for sure in that, but I do think it is more of a confidence thing for Modest Buzelis. And I will say this, Billy Donovan has an impact on the confidence of his young players as well. And if he's not doing that, that could lead us exactly where we are too. So I'm still not saying that Billy Donovan doesn't have a part in Modest's confidence leaving a little bit. I just don't think that he's telling Modest to settle for bad shots and just stay at the three-point line. I just don't think that. Modest needs to attack. He needs to go to the bucket. He needs to be a more aggressive player. He needs to cut and move without the ball. That is one thing that this team has completely lost as well. Its ability to moving without the ball. Get that shit back. Let's go. Let's attack it. And let's see if we can get there, Josh. Let's hope so. Let's get into this last voicemail for today. This one's from Brian Washington.
Yo, what up, Haize? This your boy Brian Washington from the West Side, man. I just want to say, man, I'm still high on this team, man. I don't know what's going on, but I think they just hit a little wall or something, man. They got to get it together, go back and watch the first 5 games of the season and see how they was playing or something, or is Billy Donovan doing that? You know what I'm saying? Something's going on, but I know one thing for sure, and this has been the past few years, we've always had a big man problem. Always. I like Vooch. I don't like Jalen Smith, but we always had a big man problem the past few years. We have the guards, we have the offense, you know what I'm saying? We always had more guards than anything, but we need some big men, some tough big men, tough-minded big men. You know what I'm saying? Not just a scoring big man, just a big man that wants to get out there and help his team and rebound and crash some boards, you know what I'm saying, and block some shots, play some defense, some tough guys. It seems like the Bulls, they never really, it's like they don't like tough guys. You know what I'm saying? They get rid of them. They get rid of the Jimmy Butlers, the Bobby Porters. You know what I'm saying? They don't like tough guys. For some reason, we get these 2 blue-collar guys. You know what I'm saying? These players. We need some tough guys, some that play like they on the fucking concrete court. You know, we need those guys, and I see that in a lot of other teams, the way they play. And then a lot of teams, the Bulls are a target. I don't care how bad the Bulls suck. Teams love beating the Bulls. They play their ass off. The weakest teams bust their ass playing the Bulls just to beat them. Just to get something about the Bulls that teams love to beat Chicago. You know what I'm saying? So they got to get that shit together. We need some toughness over here. Some tough. We got this. I like the team, but they need to make a trade. P. Will, bro, it's time. It's time. I'm done with it. It's time. It's time P. Will to go. He ain't stepping up, even off the bench. Like, I don't know what's going on, but we need a tough big man over here. At least one. We need that. But that's all I got to say. Something going on. They got to fix it.
All right, the problem with saying that we need to make a trade and then listing players like P-Will and Vooch is that you're not going to get much back for those guys. You're just not. I'm not here to say that the Bulls don't need to make a trade or that they won't make a trade. I just think you got to realize, like, the market for P-Will and Vooch, you're probably more likely to have to give up a pick than get anything back substantial for either one of those guys as things stand right now, right? The Bulls definitely lack toughness, though. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about that. The toughness has left the building. This team is a bunch of pansies. They've been playing like a bunch of pansies lately, and that's everybody from top to bottom, from the front office to the ownership to the players, to the back end of the bench. People are playing soft right now. We need to get back out there and playing like that aggressive team. Physicality was a focus in training camp for a reason, and you see why now, because this team lacks so much of it that they were trying to insert that into this team, and now we're getting our ass kicked by, like you said, teams that just refuse to go away against the Chicago Bulls because they know if we keep punching and jabbing at them, they're eventually going to fall. And that's what the Chicago Bulls have shown. Now, the defense was much better throughout most of the game against, last night, but against the Pacers. But it still wasn't enough because then you couldn't get enough stops when you needed to. So this team has a lot of things that they really need to look at, evaluate, and review if they really want to turn this shit around. Like you said, I'm not out on this team yet either. They just need to rediscover who the fuck they were at the beginning of the season. And listen, you're never who you are at your best, and you never truly are who you are at your worst. The truth is usually somewhere in the middle of that. And the Bulls got to find that middle and discover who they can really be this season, in my opinion. But that's my time for today, guys. I appreciate you guys so much, man. We are at a crossroads right now. Whether it's coaching, effort, or roster construction, something has to change with this team. Let me know what you think down below. Should the Bulls move on from Billy Donovan or keep riding this out? Make sure you guys are subscribed. Hit the like button to this video as well. Share the show. Make sure you guys are following us at Bulls Central Pod. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, bullscentralpod@gmail.com. And lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. We're the #1 spot for everything Chicago Bulls related, but that is thanks to you, lovely and beautiful people. And like I like to end every episode on, go Bulls. Love you guys. See you right if you can, y'all. Peace.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.